So the first thing I do, obviously, is go and get Foley out the field. The horses live outside 24/7 because we don't have stables or anything like that, so they're outside. I just say hello to Sadie, and then I put Foley's halter on her. She sometimes can be quite hard to catch. She did run away on me a few times today, but once I get on, she's fine. So I put her halter on, and she looks like a camel. I then just lead her out the paddock. There's 3 other horses in there with her, so it sometimes can be quite hard getting her out the gate, but once she's at the gate, it's all good. We actually took Sadie out the paddock just to let her have some grass, so she's just chilling there, and I just lead Foley out the gate. I just walk down the road a little to the stalls where I tack her up. So once I get down to the stalls, I just take her onto the concrete and tie her up to some baling twine so that if she gets a fright and pulls away, she won't break her lead or her halter. And then I just start to take her rug off, which, as you can see, is pretty ripped because she gets bullied. Once I've taken her rug off, I start brushing her. The first brush I use is just a curry comb. It used to have like a massage side on it, but now it's just a curry comb because it's broken. And I just curry her body. I don't do her legs or her face because it's quite a hard curry comb. So after I finish curry combing her, I use the next brush, which is a dandy brush or a hard bristle brush, whatever you want to call it. And I go over her body and her legs with this brush, and it just helps get off all the mud. As you can see, she quite likes being brushed and she's very attentive to what's around her. She's generally pretty good when I brush her. She stands pretty still and doesn't make a fuss. So if you want something to hold on to, gotta find it first. But here I am, 'cause I've been laying under palm trees. So after I finish with the dandy brush, I use a body brush which has shorter bristles, and it just helps get like the dust off that's been left by the dandy brush, and it's just a bit of a finishing brush. So I go over her body with this one. So after I finish with that body brush, I use another body brush which has longer bristles and is a bit softer. I go over her whole body with this, and I also use it with a plastic curry comb to like make sure I'm not putting the dust back on her. I brush over her whole body with this. I then use that same body brush on her face, so I just brush off the face, make sure there's no dust around where the bridle sits because I don't want to get any rubs. After I've finished brushing her face, I go through her mane with a metal mane comb. Her mane's pretty thick, but she hates having it pulled, so I have to cut it, which isn't ideal, but it'll have to do. I then pick out all 4 of her hooves with a hoof pick. This is the most important part. You don't want to be riding them around with anything in their hoof, such as a stone, because it could make them go lame, and that's not fun. Foley doesn't actually have shoes on because she's got pretty good feet. I'd rather her not need shoes, but there may come a time when she does need shoes, so we'll just have to wait and see. After I've
picked out her feet, I put hoof oil on them. This is actually just a mixture of coconut oil and olive oil because I ran out of hoof oil, but I'm getting some more soon, so I just put this on all 4 of her feet. I rarely brush out her tail, I usually just run my hands through it because I don't want it to become too thin, and then I just put my tack on the fence. I start tacking her up by putting my Equipad saddle pad on her, and then I put a piece of foam on the back of her saddle pad because her saddle is a bit off at the moment. The saddle fit is coming soon, but it was recommended that I just put something under the back to rise it up a bit because she has no top line. So I put that on and then just readjust the saddle pad, and then I put her martingale on. I then put her girth on, and I actually forgot to put the straps of the martingale through the straps that attach to the girth on the saddle, so I had to go back and do that. But I put the bottom of the martingale through the girth and attached it on the other side. So here I am after realizing I hadn't attached it properly, just putting it through the girth strap. And then I get her bridle and take halter off to put it on. So the bit I ride Foley in is just a loose ring double jointed snaffle. She is quite strong, but I don't really want to put a stronger bit on her. Once the bridle's actually on the head, I then do up all the straps, making sure it's not too tight. After I finish doing up the bridle, I undo the reins so I can put them through the rings on the martingale, and I make sure they're not twisted before I do them back up. Once all her tack's on, I put her boots on. They're just some brushing boots. I rarely ride without boots because I'm so cautious with my horse's legs, like I don't want Foley to go lame again. Once both her boots have been put on, I put her girth up a couple of holes because I don't like to do it too tight in the beginning. And then I just stretch her legs a little to make sure it's not pinching. Once Foley's all ready to go, I have to get myself ready, so I put some gloves on. These gloves are by Super Cross Country on Instagram. I like to wear gloves when I ride Foley because she can be quite strong. Then I just get a whip and undo her stirrup leathers. Once we've both got all our gear on, I just lead her to the mounting block. I then just do her girth up one last time so that it's ready for when I get on her. I take her up to the mounting block. I like to mount off something because it's not great for their backs mounting from the ground. She did move around a bit, so it took a couple of tries to get her standing still. I then just get on her and walk her off ready for my ride. So that's it, that's how I get Foley ready to ride. If you want to see any other videos, feel free to leave a comment. Sorry if this was bad, but yeah, it's the first one.